and the cash flow in terms of income is $45,000 a year. The second illustration, now remember when they open the policy, it's only 30% occupied. So you encourage the client, just like an office owner. You're always looking to fill up the client, advertise, get more offices occupied. So in this second illustration, I have the same client, and if you look at the premium outlay, they're slowly increasing the premium, 500, 600, 700, 800, until they eventually fully fund the policy 15 years later. Maybe they've gotten rid of debt, right? And in so doing, what happens is, in the initial example, they ended up with about $578,000, but by slowly and intentionally increasing the cash outlay into the policy, they end up having what? They end up having put away $558,000, having $1.4 million at 65, and they're able to take out almost $2.6 million in tax-free income, right? Now, what if they fully fund the policy right off the bat? Right? You hear some people say, oh, I have real estate, right? I'm putting money in my real estate. What if you not show them the same policy and they're fully funding it right out the gate, right? They're putting $20,000, which is the maximum allowed by the policy. In this case, the office is fully occupied. What is the result of that? The result of that is more capital outlay, more savings, $2.4 million at 65. And guess what? Over $4 million in tax-free income from 65 until 85. The same analogy with that office building and fully trying to get the offices occupied. Now, most of you are familiar with the Fantastic Four. So I did summarize that for you here. So let me share my screen with you. So if you look at, in this first example, it's a 30-year-old, $500,000, $500 a month, assuming a 6.59% interest rate, the total contribution is $210,000. Of course, it's safety. Accumulation is $579,000, $45,000 in tax-free income from age 66 to age 85, and still leaving a surrender value of $527,000. This is how powerful this product is. Even though the policy is only 30% occupied, the client still wins long-term, right? But if I get a chance to explain to the client, because sometimes people get lost, or it's insurance, they think it's expensive. But if you use the analogy, if I had an office building, I'm trying to fill the tenant, so I may start with $200, $300, $400. But as I'm making extra money, I'm putting $500, $600, $700. The result is down the road, they're putting $558,000. They have $1.4 million. The same time frame, take a look at this. It's $132,000 in tax-free income from age 66 to age 85. Keep in mind that if this was money coming from a tax-deferred product, they probably have to withdraw about $150, $160, pay taxes to net $132. Never mind what's happening to the principal, they're depleting the principal. And in spite of doing all that, at 86, they still have an extra $530,000 left. The death benefit is obviously more, of almost $2 million at 65, with a long-term care benefit of $10,000 a month, not counting the critical and chronic illness rider that comes with this policy, right? Now, a fully funded policy with $20,000 a year from the first year to age 65, the same story. Look at this, $2.42 million in cash value at 65. This is accessible as they grow the policy. $200,000 a year in tax-free income from age 66 and still leaving $1.1 million. So, Usman, if I told you, give me $715,000 in the next 35 years, and here's what you're going to get. You're going to get about $4 million in tax-free income, and still you leave your family with $1.1 million. Will you sign up for that deal? I think that's a good deal, right? Now, all offices are not created equal. I can have a one-story building, I can have a 5-story building or 10-story building. Now, logically speaking, a 3-story building, 10-story building means what? More capital outlay, means more offices, means more a chance for me to put more premium into my policy, which means more cash value potential. That's why it's important to do a proper PFS. So in this case, for the right client, If the need, it's $1 million. Look, the initial capital outlay is now twice what it was before for $500,000 policy, but the maximum allowed is $40,000 a year. Keep in mind, the maximum allowed by a Roth IRA is $7,500. This is almost almost 5 times that, right? That's why they say IUL is the rich man's Roth IRA, right? Don't quote me, that's from Forbes. But if you look at now in terms of the Fantastic Four, I mean the four cornerstones, $40,000 a year is $1.42 million saved into the policy. Look at this, guys. At 65, that's $4.7 million accumulated, allowing the client to draw $350,000 a year for 20 plus years and still living. They put in 1.4, they took a $7.2 million tax-free, but still left $3 million for the family. And people will say it's too good to be true. No, it's too good to be free. It's a great product if properly applied, right? So how does this all fit in? We're all running the GX, trying to become Kahuna. I'm so excited, and we should all be excited in terms of going out and talking to people. I always say this, it's not about the product. If you understand the concepts, you can apply the product to get to your goal. It's not about cash value, it's not about mutual funds. What am I trying to get to? If I understand, then I can apply the right solution. So if you look at the GX, you and 1 GX gives you an opportunity to make $100,000 a year. You plus 5 GX gives you an opportunity to make about $500,000. But how do I get people to get a chance to see this? I always say this, I'm not talking to you to join my business. I'm joining you to show you what to do what you're doing in a more effective way. Because the truth of the matter is, everyone wants to save and invest their money for their future. They just don't know what their options are. And if the conversation is, let me sit down with you and show you what your options are, because nobody cares more about your money than you do, then once you understand, you can implement. Now, when we take a look at the financial foundation, if you look at protection, now I question, do we actually give the families the adequate protection needed? You come across a 30-year-old, maybe they're making $100,000 a year. You can see here, they can actually qualify for $3 million in life insurance protection. Maybe all they can afford is, we think of just an IUL, we give them $300,000 and we forget. But what if we gave them the $300,000 and $2.7 million in a term policy, and use this analogy? I'm buying this piece of land. I don't have the money to develop it. I can get it on my debt. I can join the business, and down the road, I can convert this into a permanent plan. A 20-year term with Nationwide can allow you to convert this policy 19 years later. But you give that family proper protection in case something was to happen to them, the family is in a good position. When you look at the debt management solution that we talk about, and I'm going to give credit to Chidi, because I came to a meeting. Sometimes you hear people say, I don't want to come to the meeting because I hear the same thing all the time. But in this one meeting, when you look at this slide, most of the times we talk about this slide, an extra $100 saved this person 13 years of their life. And instead of paying the debt in 30 years, they did it in 17 years. But take a look, if they pay the minimum over a 30-year period, they will have paid over $1.031 million into the debt, over $629,000 in interest. But with an extra $100, now they're paying $29.57 times 204 months. The total debt payment is $603,000. That means, Mr. or Mrs. Klein, with that extra $100, we saved you almost $500,000 in interest. Tell me, if you just share this slide, how many people will not be willing to share with you how much debt they have, because they know they have a chance to win. And in so doing, you can go back and to look at what their concerns are, what they have been saving, because you're actually looking out for their interest. And this is what we call, like Chidi says, buy your life back program. With this 2957, I want to toggle and go back to the savings calculator. Now, with the 2957, if they're saving this on a monthly basis for 13 years, Guess what we did for that client? They have an extra $812,000 in their investment. What if they're doing an extra $200, $300 a month into their debt? Can we go out there and recruit more people? Absolutely. Can we do GX?
Yes.
Can we go out there and really make an impact for families? We're not in the business of selling IULs. We're in the business of educating people and showing the power of what we have. So I'm very, very excited about the platform that we have. I know that we can be able to do some big things in the future. And what I'm sharing with you is just a way for you to take a look and be comfortable. Know that you have the adequate solutions for people. And if you focus on just talking about the concepts, the clients are there for us. It's a numbers problem. If we go out there, we can all be GX, 3GX, Kahuna, and Big Kahuna. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you.
Awesome.
Right?
Let's go.
Awesome. That was powerful. Thank you so much, George. That training was specifically for me. I learned so much. Thank you. That was beautiful to see today. And without wasting much time, we'll be going to our next trainer today. We'll be talking to us about the business. She's a part-timer from faculty, a faculty member. Love doing what she does. I've taken our campaign to over 32 universities and many worldwide known organizations due to her organization, due to the support and her belief. And she enjoys being an ambassador to our campaign. Thank you so much, Doctor. We're going to invite Dr. Dolly Amaya to take it over. I first met her in 2018, and I'm so glad to have a picture. And I've recruited all kinds of persons, letting them know that we have a part-timer with us who is a Harvard professor, and she's making seven-figure income working with us. And when I'm talking to you, if you're not making seven-figure income, you have no option than to join me. Thank you so much, Doctor. Please take it over.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction and great training for George. Thank you so very much. And I see my initial mentor, Emeka. I see him right there. He was my mentor when I began on this campaign. And so I am very, very happy and proud that in honor to be here with you all. So my theme for today is GX as your winning strategy, because I'm going to talk less about the intangibles. We need to understand that in order for the mission to be part of the real action of being able to not just inform people, but truly take them from education to action, we need to understand compensation. So if GX pays us, listen to this, if GX pays us between 100,000 to 1 million per year, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? So what GX really means, it means not only, of course, making sure that you achieve your goal as an SMD. As an SMD, this will be your income. And for me, it's very clear, very, very clear that you cannot neglect to do your personal GX, because it's not just about production, it's what's behind production. Aside from that, you need to make sure that you get paid. Like anybody goes to their job to get paid. In here, we also need to listen. You need to fill your cup. It is impossible to give somebody something that you don't have. So we already know about all of the intangibles. However, if you don't fill up your own cup, how can you possibly help others? Of course, doing your personal, it will fulfill the company's mission, which if you are like me, I adopted it as if it was my own, as if it's my own. And so understanding that every 315 at a personal level takes you closer to that 100 per year, you must understand that GX is not emotional. GX is a mathematical formula. What do you mean, Dr. Amaya? Yes, you must understand that you gotta do GX regardless. You're tired, you do GX. You're sad, you do your GX. You are hungry, you do your GX. You're broke, you do your GX. That's exactly why you do your GX. So the formula is simple, right? Not only those 3 members will activate bonus, but it will also activate your income. And when you have that stream of income, trust me, you can pass it on to your team because they see you in action, they will start acting as well. It's the formula for being a leader that does and not just say. So, and that's where you start leveraging, because when you're busy doing your own GX, your new members are leveraging your knowledge, but you will also start leveraging others. And that's how you take them to the field. You take them to the training. You take them to do match up. And so GX is building you and being you at the same time. However, we must not stay there. We also need to become kahuna. Because let me tell you, kahuna is not just a theory. Remember, today I'm focused more on the tangibles, because when I made GX consistently, I'm not only building me, but building others. And that's the beauty of it. Then you become a consistent kahuna to be able to earn as much as you can. And building GXs pays me so well that I want to make sure that I become a full-timer as well. Now let's think about that. What kind of timer are you? Look, I just realized that a lot of people want to make, listen to this, between 500 to 2,500. In a GXer, you're able to do it with only this much. As an associate, I'm talking just as an associate. So my question is, why you stay there? Of course, it makes sense that if I'm earning this much with only doing it, because I decide so. No, I mean, you want to have to be transformational. The beauty of our campaign is that allows you to start at this level, but it encourages you and it pushes you to go to the next level. It is not fair that you and I stay where we are when we have so much more to pass on the blessings. So if we say that being a part-timer pays me between 25 to this, now think about this. Where else can you find a part-time job, a part-time profession that pays you this much with so little in it? Think about it. And so, I mean, it only makes sense that you keep on progressing, and that as you become an SMB, go figure. I mean, to me, when people ask me, what are you? I always say I'm an old-timer. Not just because of my income, but because of how I think. Because everything to me is our mission. I eat and breathe and sleep in function around our mission, around helping at least 3 people and having that legacy or passing on that legacy on to others. So the question is, what are we waiting for? What are we not jumping onto becoming a real mission-driven individual? Old-timer is not about the hours that you put in. Old-timer is about making sure that you lead with example. And leading by example is doing your own GX. Now, let me show you that by the numbers, because building GX pays us so well that becoming a full-timer is inevitable. That should be everyone's goal. And so, let me tell you about the strategy. I call it the cycle. First, you have to make a decision. And coach taught us to be focused. If you're not focused on making sure that you do GX regardless of what happens, it's all about your attitude. I do it because I do it, period. I just do it. I don't give myself an option to fail. You must do GX, period. And when you understand that, your mentality will bring the results. And of course, you have to be consistent. As I say, you're tired, you do it. You're upset, you do it. Just like every time I do the first orientation, I interview my members and I said, give me 3 things that you have to do at your job, regardless. When you were tired, when you were upset, when you were sick, give me 3 things that you had to do at your job. And then I say, it is the very same thing here. GX is one of those 3 things that you cannot fail yourself to do it. And when you're consistent on something, you become more disciplined. Don't wait to be disciplined to be consistent. No. It's all the way around. You first have to be consistent. Create a schedule that provides you not only partnerships, that you stop by, drive by, that you do your social media, that you knock on doors, that you teach at schools and create partnerships with everybody. If you're consistent of that, if you're consistent on following up and making those phone calls, I'm saying every 2 hours I have to make 30 phone calls. And I don't care what happens, I will do that. That's consistency. What is in your schedule that becomes so consistent that you become the discipline? And then what? That's when you become predictable, because you're creating that order. You now are so disciplined that it creates and it brings order. And when your team members tell you that you're going to show up, you show up. And so that is action. And of course, all of this combined brings us results. And so for us, it's very important that you also keep in mind that you have to monitor your GXers, because if you don't measure, you're not going to find results. Right now, I have 12 members that are running very seriously, and I'm monitoring them every single day. How is it going? Where are you? How many appointments do you have? Where are you going today? What are you doing? And at the end of the day, okay, so how did it go? How many appointments have you done? Were you able to follow up with this person and this other person? Because my friend, making $100,000 means 100,000 inconveniences and changes. But you know what? GX creates volume. Volume activates bonuses. Bonuses compound over time. In other words, it reflects system, not lack. And GX grows when leaders duplicate. So one GX doesn't pay once. One GX keeps on paying you over and over. And that's why I want you to understand GX by the numbers. GX by the numbers, I'm just going to give you one single example. I'm sure you've seen this before. This is not my creation, but when you understand that it can take you from 100,000 to 1 million just by having 10 GXers, I'll give you an example. And of course, your goal will be to how many people you're going to take, how many people you're going to take to our next convention. Because if you do your GX and then you hope your base create those GXers, guess what? You are on the way to becoming a kahuna, a big kahuna, and a millionaire. Let me apply this beautiful cycle to real case scenarios. For example, case study number 1. Joanna, mother, a homemaker, traditional business owner. Now we can call her a licensed professional, earning over 100,000, 120,000 per year. Why? Because she decided to build GXers. She kept on going to every single event. And it was a matter of a year, and she became not only a Titan, but a GX builder. You see, all of this requires the decision making, which is what we talk, the action, which is what the cycle, and it gives you those results. So you understand that this is not just theory. This is a mathematical. Now, let's talk about case study number 2. Ms. Rosario Tinoco, owner of a trucking company, very humble individual, and she took action. And look at her GXers. I mean, how beautiful is this? Where else could she be earning over 65,000 in only 6 months? You see why we have to be so proud of having a system that is simple, is duplicatable, and that you are able to build others and build yourself. My God, to me, this case study touches me a lot because Ms. Lesbia Cisneros was a cleaning and business owner for 20 years. And now as a licensed professional, she's building GXers. Why? Because she followed the formula. She made a decision. She stopped being emotional about it. And before GX, her results were very inconsistent. After GX, now she got momentum, became an S&D, right? So I want you to understand that this case studies, all of us have followed that system. My niece, I mean, she loves social media, she loves shopping, and she loves napping, all right? Now, what I love about her the most is that she's one of the most disciplined coming to the financial center. She's in Houston, Texas, and she doesn't miss the main meetings. She travels all over. And now, in 6 months, as soon as she made the decision, making over $50,000. She has helped me build so many GXers, you have no idea, on a match-up basis. Now, let's talk about an 18-year-old. Can you imagine you giving the possibility to an 18-year-old to have this type of structure? Just because we have something so simple, she committed and she followed everything. She is so coachable, and that's the secret of it. She's so coachable. And I told her, okay, next thing is the sharing list. Oh my God, Dr. Amaya, I only have 85 people and you asked me for 100. It doesn't matter. Give me your 85 people. We start making phone calls. If my niece Chelsea is at her same age and they say, oh, we found somebody for Sunday at 5 p.m. Can you take it? Yes. I'm in the office. at the office on a Sunday at 5 p.m. In this entire infrastructure, all because she listened, all because she was coachable, all because she understood the power of building. This entire leg came out of a single phone call because she followed the instructions of sharing the campaign, sharing the mission, sharing the vision. And it's so simple that an 18-year-old can do it. Now, our last case study is Miss Madeline Lewis, a mother, a life coach, traditional business owner, right? And she was stuck. But as soon as she began following the GX, guess what? Now she's more consistent with her income. So follow this strategy, this cycle. Don't you ever forget it. Because guess what? First, you commit to expand to do your personal GX every single month. Every single month. You have to commit to be a GX12 by the end of the year. That's where your vision expands. And guess what? Then you start helping others. And on a monthly basis, you become a rising kahuna. Start with that. Start with that. Build 3 people, build 3, build 3, build 3 on a monthly basis until, guess what? Your belief will start strengthening because now you see it, now you say, oh, it wasn't as difficult as I thought. First, I began with me. Then I began with 3 others. And now, guess what? I can monthly do kahuna. And one day, you will declare yourself a big kahuna. Because building 10 should not be as difficult as the first 3 that you build. The difficult part is that you're so consistent with your personal that becoming a rising kahuna, once you break that cycle, trust me, we should all become big kahunas. And I want to remind you, most big decisions are made right after an event like G26. So are you ready to be celebrated and to build 3, 5, or 10 GXers every single month so that you can be celebrated at G26? Sacramento waits for you. This is why these people did, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. So I love this part, and I'm going to close with these 3 last slides. Because I want to ask you, how many slices of this pie would you want? One, when you build yourself month to month to month to month to month. That's your income source. That's your income, my ladies. I see so many beautiful, powerful ladies in this house. Come on. We should all start at least with our very own. And then you start building 2 people or 3. Why not? Look at the income. Remember, it's not a theory. It's a mathematical formula. And then guess what? Magic starts happening. And that's why we should fight every single day. We need to decide, we need to declare, and we need to deliver. I want you to understand and ask yourself this question. If GS leads us to $1 million per year, the question isn't about ability. It's about 100% of decision. I want you to take a picture of this. And I want you to post it in every single one of your chats. Because let me tell you, and I want you to understand this. Once you make the decision, you will make it happen. You will make it happen. Now, the slide is complete. So take it again. Decide, declare, and deliver. Decide, declare, and deliver. It's about action. In summary, I want to have to tell you, GX is simple. GX is clear. GX is fast. GX is duplicatable. And what I love the most to say to my campaigners, GX is your GPS, is your business plan, is your compensation plan. Don't ask me to train you on anything else. GX is predictable income growth. So I am Dolly Amaya, an old-timer of our mission, and I know you will become one as well. Thank you so very much for allowing me to share.
Powerful. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Doctor. You see, if we were paying to be in her training, if not the opportunity of WFG, probably they will be charging us thousands to come and get this train from this awesome professor. So you see, the training was unique. You know very well that it's a privilege to be here this evening. The result has been called. Go to GS. No excuse. Everybody GS. Do your GS and be recognized. Sacramento is right in front of us. You might think there's still time. Without GS, you are not walking that stage. And the worst thing that could happen to you in this business is being here and being a spectator. Please be one of the participants. So please get your GS done. Do it as soon as possible. Let's keep the emoji coming. This training this evening was powerful. We want to thank everybody. We want to appreciate the both trainers for walking us through this powerful training today. Please go put action to all we've learned. Thank you so much and have a blessed evening. Thank you and have a good night.
Yeah.